Welcome back for example 3. We're going to be comparing volumes and surface areas. So for A, it says compare the volume and surface area of a sphere with radius 42 and a rectangular prism measuring 44 centimeters by 84 centimeters by 84 centimeters. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start with the sphere. So we're going to find the volume first of the sphere. We know that the volume is, the formula is 4/3 pi r cubed, and it says the radius is 42 centimeters. I think what I'm going to do for this one is use my calculator because going 42 cubed is going to be a humongous number. So 42 cubed. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is figure out what 42 cubed is. So I'm going to clear up my calculator right here and go 42 times 42 times 42. You can see that here and enter. Okay, so that's 74,088, and then I'm going to multiply that by 4 and then divide it by 3. And I end up with the volume equals 98,784 pi. But I also want to figure out what it is, so times that by 3.14. And I get that the volume is equal to 310,100. So round to the nearest tenth, so that 6 is going to round that up to an 8. 181.8. Okay, and that's going to be centimeters cubed because we're talking about volume. Okay, now let's go ahead. So that's the volume, these two. Let's go ahead and find that surface area as well. So the surface area for a sphere is going to be 4 pi r squared, and r is 42, right? So 4 pi 42 squared. And so I'm going to go ahead and figure that out. What that is, 42 times 42 equals 1,764. Then I'm going to multiply that by 4 here. And I get my answer in terms of pi, so 7,056. That's in terms of pi. And then I also want to find out an exact answer, so I'm going to multiply that by pi 3.14. And I really should have this being approximate. So the surface area is approximate. This 4 to the nearest tenth does not round that up, so it stays an 8. So 22,155.8, and that is centimeters cubed. Centimeters cubed. And there we go. So we have the volume and the surface area for the sphere. Now we just need to go ahead and figure out what it is for the rectangular prism. So, rectangular prism. So you know we're going to have like a figure that looks like this and looks like this, right? And this and this and this and this, okay? So it says it measures 44 by 84 by 84, okay? So let's first find the volume of this, which is going to be the base times the height, right? And the area of the base is a rectangle, so that's going to be length times width times height. Let's call our length equals 44. Our width equals 84, and our height equals 84. We substitute all those values in, and we get 44 times 84 times 84. All right, so let's just go ahead and figure out what that value is really quick. So let me move this over. All right. So 44 times 84 times 84 ends up being, okay, so the volume ends up being 464. So really, really close. You know, these values are really, really close. Just a little bit off, but super close. It makes me want to just calculate this again. So 44 times 84 times 84. Yeah, that's right. And then this is 42. Let me calculate this again. 42 times 42 times 42 equals that times 4 divided by 3 times 3.14. And yeah, so these numbers are right. This would be centimeters cubed. So very, very similar, but just a little bit off. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the surface area. So the surface area, when you find this, it's a bunch of the surface. And so, like, let's say we look at this front side right here. Well, we have to find the area of this rectangle, which would be length times width. And that is the same thing as this back one, length times width. There's actually 2 sets. So the surface area is going to be 2 because there's the front and the back have the same dimensions. And we're going to go length times width, which is 44 times the width of it is 84. Okay, so that is the front and the back, plus where we have to do the sides, right? So what are the dimensions of the sides? And the sides have the same dimension. It's 84 by 84. So it's going to be 2 times 84 here and here, the length and the width of that, times 84, plus, then we're going to go to the top and the bottom are the same. And so this top is 44 times 84. That would be the area of the top, and the area of the bottom would be the same. So 2 times the area of the top would be 44 times 84. And that would be the area of the surface. So now we just need to figure out what all those things equal. So I'm going to move this over. We're going to go clear that out. Clear, come on now. Where do you clear it out? Okay, there we go. So the first one, 2 times 44 times 84 equals, that surface area equals 7,392. Okay, then we're going to do this one, 2 times 84 times 84 plus 14,112 plus, we'll clear this out, 2 times 44 times 84, 7,392. And then, okay, so we have two 7,392s. So we need to add that 7,392 plus 14,112. And we get the surface area is 28,896. Oh, surface area, I put cubed here. Surface area is always squared on the sphere. It shouldn't have been cubed. And that would be centimeters squared. That is the surface area of the rectangular prism. So it looks like they're close, but they're not exactly quite the same. But pretty close. I'd say the volumes are definitely the same. So they approximately have the same volume, but the surface area of the rectangular prism is more than the surface area of the sphere. So I'm going to say the volume of the sphere and rectangular prism are similar, but the surface area of the rectangular prism is greater than the surface area of the sphere. Okay, and that is our answer. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now it is your turn, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to try B. Here's my friend the pause dragon, reminding you to pause your device to go ahead and work it out. When you get done, press play and we'll talk about it. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, we're back. This problem B says compare the volume and surface area of a sphere with radius 21 and a rectangular prism measuring 28 centimeters by 33 centimeters by 42 centimeters. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to find the volume and the area, surface area of the sphere first. So the volume of the sphere would be 4/3 pi r cubed, and the radius is 21. So we substitute that in. Okay, and then I'm just going to use my calculator to figure it out. Clear this out. Okay, so I'm going to go 21 cubed first, 21 times 21 times 21. And then I'm going to multiply that by 4, divide it by 3, and then multiply it by pi, which would be 3.14. And we'd round it to the nearest tenth, so that 2 can't round it up, so it'd just be the volume equals 38,772.7 centimeters cubed. Okay, there is our volume. And let's go ahead and find that surface area. So the surface area is going to be of the sphere 4 pi r squared. 21 goes in for the radius. So we're just going to figure out what that is. 21 times 21 first. Multiply that by 4. And then multiply that by 3.14 pi. And the surface area ends up being 5,500. Oh wait, okay, so this rounds this up. Gotta round to the nearest tenth. This rounds this up to 0, which would round that up to 9. So 539, and its surface area, and area is always squared. So the surface area of the sphere is 5,539. Okay, let's go ahead and find the volume and surface area of the rectangular prism. So I'm going to create a rectangular prism over here. All right, so it says it's 28 by 33 by 42. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is find the volume, right? The volume is the area of the base times the height. The area of the base is a rectangle, so it's going to be length times width. So it's length times width times height. So we have the length is going to be 28. The width is equal to 33, and the height is 42. So we just stick in those values, 28 for L, W, the width is 33, the height is 42. Volume equals, I'm gonna multiply and figure out what those values are. So 28 times 33 times 42 is 38,808 centimeters cubed. And again, if we compare those are very, very similar volumes between the sphere and the rectangular prism. But let's go ahead and look at the surface area. Okay, so the surface area is going to be, so let's look at the front and the back here, okay? So the front and the back, the area of the front is length times width, and there's two of them, right? So the length is 28, the width is 42, and the same is true here. This is 28 by 42, so there's two of them. So 2 times 28 times 42 plus, we'll do the sides, right, which is, there's a rectangle here, so 33, the length is 33, the width is 42, and the same is true over here, 33 and 42. So 2 times 33 times 42, because there's the left side and then the right side, that's where you get the 2 from. And then finally the top and the bottom. The top here would be, the dimensions would be 28 by 33. So plus times 28 times 33. And there's the top and there's the bottom, so there's 2 of them, so that's why we multiply it by 2. Okay, let's calculate all this and figure out what we end up with. So I'm going to start here and go 2 times 28 times 42. And that ends up being 2,352 plus 2 times 33 times 42. That ends up being 2,772 plus the last one here, which is 2 times 28 times 33, and that ends up being 1,848. Then I'm just going to add up all 3 of these numbers. 2,772 plus 2,352, enter, and the surface area ends up being 6,972 centimeters squared. So even though let's compare these. I'd say the volume of the sphere and the rectangular prism are definitely very, very close and similar. However, the surface area of the rectangular prism is definitely greater than the surface area of the sphere. So we're going to say the volume of the sphere and rectangular prism are similar, but the surface area of the rectangular prism is greater than the surface area of the sphere. And that is our final answer. So if you have that written down, wonderful job. If not, just go ahead and write this down on your paper. Make sure all of your work is shown and so that your work looks exactly like mine. All right, that's it. Wonderful job, and I'll see you next time.